Buongiorno, today I'll be making pasta alla puttanesca and I will very briefly run you through the ingredients. This is a very simple meal and very popular in southern Italy and especially Naples, which is where the recipe was born. So you're gonna need some olives, any type of olives. These are Greek styles called Kalamata, but it doesn't really matter. You can choose any olives you like. Also, you're going to need some garlic and some chili pepper, some cherry tomatoes or some fresh tomatoes if you can, but if you do not have any and you've got tin tomatoes is also good. These are capers and these are kept in wine. I have soaked them for half an hour and it's a little Sicilian trick, but keep the wine, do not dispose of the wine as I will be using that also. Olive oil, I will be using spaghetti, which is very typical for this sort of pasta. And olive oil is a key ingredient, by the way, rather than a condiment. Salt and pepper, and that is pretty much it. Do you know what puttanesca means, Julie, by the way?
Well, I know what the word puttana means.
Right.
So I'm presuming it's got something to do with ladies of the night, we'll call them.
Or like a prostitute, yeah?
Oh, ladies of the night. Let's not
Ladies
go
of the
more
night.
basic than that.
But the puttana are not only available at night, of course, are they? So we are referring to prostitutes, effectively.
In fact, yeah.
And it is ironic because lots of chefs who cook this pasta will refer to pasta alla puttanesca because of the word puttana, and that is because it's memorable. But ironically, actually, the meaning of pasta alla puttanesca has got absolutely nothing to do with puttana, although there is obviously a relationship.
We learn something new every day.
You do indeed. Okay, let me explain. You need to go back to the origin of the word, and the word origin is putta, which is a girl, and that is the Latin word putta. And words evolve over time, and a girl in southern Italian social context, an unmarried girl is seen as a vulnerable young woman.
What, like a spinster? Or
I don't know what spinster means.
perhaps spinster means more just older lady. Perhaps
No,
sort
no,
of
young
old,
woman.
This is still a young woman.
This is about evolution of social context and how languages evolve alongside social context. So you got a young girl, putta, but unmarried and still seen as vulnerable because might not even have the protection from the family. Putta equal girl, young girl, vulnerable woman equal prostitute effectively. And the word for prostitute is puttanas because it's seen as somebody who cannot look after themselves. It's just the way languages work and evolve.
That is an odd thing, if you don't mind me saying. Just because you're young and vulnerable, and
well, this is the way the culture of languages has evolved over time, and it's not different actually in the English language if you think about it. The word mistress, for example, initially was something that would define a respected woman, somebody actually in authority, and over time that has changed, and now actually is someone's secret partner. Or, for example, a hussy. That's another one. Actually, a hussy was a word used in the past for a housewife, a very respected role. But over time has changed. We know what a hussy is, don't we?
I think as somebody who's a little bit on the loose side, maybe.
It is on the loose side, yes.
Isn't that funny? Yeah.
So you could say, what has the word prostitute got to do with pasta? Prostitute is also prostituta in Italian, the word. So I need to think where I am. I've actually just added my garlic and some anchovies, some chili peppers, and one red chili to my pan, and olive oil, abundant olive oil because it's important. And I'm not going to add these are my capers in wine. I'm going to rinse them first with my hand, keep the wine, important. The reason why I put them in wine, by the way, is because capers can be quite strong, and I want them to remove that bitterness, and actually the wine will really help, and it'll give also added flavor. So I'll just give them a very gentle crush. And everything at the moment is cold, by the way. Be careful with capers because they can be a little bit overpowering, so do not go mad.
I like capers, yeah.
So, before I move on to my olives, as it requires multitasking, where was I? I lost track of what was I saying?
The word in Italian is also prostituta.
Oh, prostituta, yes. So, prostituta is what you will find in the Italian dictionary. And but more of a slang word is puttana. And puttana is almost like the equivalent, if you like, of hooker, maybe in the English language. And although in the past puttana was something used to define a person, again, as language and social context change, also it became a word to identify a way of being, and it changes its meaning as well as defining a prostitute. So puttana could be also something that you use when you are saying somebody is light, somebody, you want to insult somebody. So you and I might have an argument. I say, oh, you say una puttana, not because you're a prostitute, because I want to offend you. And that actually evolution happens to all languages again. And with that, you need to think about the meaning of puttana. It's seen as somebody who does something lightly, without much respect for herself, without much thinking, and not necessarily always thinking about the consequences. This is not my thinking, this is how languages and cultures evolve. So you might think now, okay, so that's puttana, I understand that. So what's it got to do with pasta?
Yeah.
I'm getting there, just stay with me. So the pasta comes in now in the use of the word, in the word puttanata, which is what you'd say if you're doing something which is on the fly. So, for example, you say to me, I really fancy a nice meal and I would love you to cook X, Y, and Z. And I say, don't worry, Judy, I'll pop to the supermarket and I'll buy the ingredients and I'll cook you this wonderful meal. In the meantime, I've put my olives in here and I'm going to now turn my olive oil and everything on together, and I'll leave it on a medium heat whilst I continue with my story. So I leave the house and I drive, and the sun is shining. It's a beautiful day, not today, it's snowing actually. And I decide, actually, you know what, I fancy going for a walk on the beach. It's so lovely. So I drive to the seaside and I spend 3 hours on the beach, and then I come back and think, oh, I could go to the supermarket next. Oops, I get to the supermarket and it's closed. So I come back home and I'll say to you, Julie, ho fatto una puttanata, which means I cocked up. I did something without thinking, and the outcome might be that we have to have cheese on toast because we've got nothing else in the house. So it's an act. It's an act of doing something which is got some consequences. Nothing too dramatic. It's a word that is used loosely to define a little mistake you might have made without thinking. And because of that, puttanata is where then puttanesca come from. So you start from putta, puttana, puttanata. So puttanesca is effectively the adaptation of the word where you end up making a pasta out of the spur of the moment, based on what you have in the pantry. And I'll turn this down, otherwise you won't be able to hear me. And because of the definition of puttanata, effectively you are using whatever you've got without thinking, and you end up with something which is absolutely delicious. I'll give you another example. Imagine you're at home, minding your own business, ding dong, the bell goes off, and 6 of your friends arrive. Surprise! You think, oh, how lovely to see you all. But they're all starving, and you think, oh God, what am I going to do?
This is a Sicilian story, by the way, everybody, because this is the sort of thing they do, but we wouldn't do this in the UK.
Yeah, you wouldn't, but that's why I talk about this meal being very much a Southern Italian signature. So all of a sudden, you go, 6 people turned up, they're starving, and you go and open your cupboard, and you look, oh, what have I got? Oh, I've got some olives, I've got some onions, I've got some, not onions in this dish, I've got some capers and garlic. So you put something together you make a puttanata, which means that you are at the spur of the moment thinking on your feet, and that's why the word puttanesca come in, because it sounds better. Pasta alla puttanata would not sound very good, so has absolutely got nothing to do with prostitution. Some people think is what prostitutes eat. It's nothing to do with that, but the outcome is that it is a beautiful dinner.
Lucky them if they do.
Because lucky them if they do, because it's made from what you've got in your cupboard. So this has been sizzling for a good 2 to 3 minutes while I've been mumbling on, and this is a good time when I can add my cherry tomatoes next. So here they are. By the way, these are whole, and they are very sweet, and they are great for this dish. I'll add them in, and I'll just give them a very gentle squash with my spoon, but I'm not going to lose much sleep because they will disintegrate in due course anyway. The next thing I'm going to add is a little salt, and not a lot, because the anchovies and the olives and also the capers, they're quite salty anyway, and I will leave it. But before I do that, I did talk about the wine, so I'll just turn the temperature up a little, and I can add the wine now, and in it goes. And do not worry, you do not have to add wine whilst everything is sizzling, because the idea is that everything blends together. This is obviously an adaptation that we use in the southern of Italy, or in Sicily I should say. So I'll wait until it reaches the boil, which shouldn't take very long because there isn't a lot there. I'll place the lid on, and if you look, it's beginning to boil already. I'll turn the temperature down on simmer, and I will leave it for about 20 minutes. Leave it long enough. You want the sauce to cook, you want all of the ingredients to blend together, and then I'll cook the pasta and we'll put it together. Always remember to ensure that your pasta is not totally cooked, and it's just before al dente, very important, as it needs to finish cooking in the sauce. So here's it is. Also, I'm using spaghetti today, but you can easily use linguini or any short pasta, such penne, for example. That would be a perfect choice for this pasta also. So the pasta is gone in, and I'll mix this together, and this is a very important process, by the way, because the last minute where you're cooking your pasta with your sauce will ensure that the pasta absorbs those beautiful flavors and aroma coming from the sauce, and the smell is unbelievable. By the way, just for the record, just in case, I've never called Julie a puttana, not even an argument. It was a way to explain the meaning of the word, of course.
I should hope not. Although I got in some trouble when we were in Sicily the first year, because one of my favourite swear words is begins with a B and ends with a D. And actually they take it very seriously. If you call somebody that, they literally mean, they take it as, you know, you're questioning their mother's...
Yes, indeed. It is funny how certain countries see certain words in a different way in terms of the weight. Olive oil, I mentioned earlier that this is a very important ingredient, not just condiment. So adding it now, it will add a further aromatic layer to the pasta, and I'll finish with a very, very generous amount of parsley. And again, this will release some beautiful flavour to the sauce now that it's cooked. And I'll give it one final mix to ensure that the oil and the parsley is totally absorbed, and it is ready. Really looking forward to this, and I'll make sure that I'll get an olive and a little tomato, and I'll give you the full verdict. It might be a puttanata done on the fly, but my God, it's delicious. I know that lots of you have written to me in the past asking for my own version of the puttanesca, and some of you have said actually it's your favorite pasta. I can see why. It's simple to make, very quick to cook, and also incredibly delicious. Make it if you've never made it before, or if you've not made this version before. It's incredibly good and so easy. Thank you for watching, and thank you for bearing with me. Ciao, ciao.